Hello, everyone. My name is Ganesh Koromanil, and I used to be an IELTS examiner. I hope to share some of my understanding about IELTS for those people who are still preparing for a test. And I would be publishing a few videos in this series. So, if you would like to get the next release of videos on time, please subscribe and, of course, please ensure that you get the notification from us. So, having said that, let's get into what we can do together. First of all, IELTS is one of the many English language tests used to determine the English language proficiency of people who don't speak English as their first language. And of course, by far, IELTS is the most widely used, if not popular, English test in the world. Now, IELTS stands for, as you know, International English Language Testing System, and it is managed by Cambridge ESOL. So I was a Cambridge certified IELTS examiner for many, many years in Australia. And prior to that, I had been a candidate I've taken the test a few times in my life. And one of the prerequisites to become an IELTS examiner is to prove that you have a Band 9 ability in English language skills, in listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Now, that pretty much sums up as to what the test is all about. IELTS assess the fluency or capability or English language efficiency of the candidate in the domains of listening, reading, writing, and speaking. These four tests can be divided into two groups. Listening and reading are tests where you don't have to, you just listen, or you receive the language and you interpret the language, right? So you listen to recordings, or you read an article, or you read a passage, and then you respond to that. Whereas speaking and writing involves outputting the language, where you produce language, right? So in listening and reading, you're not producing language, you're just responding, you're just producing responses or answers. So for speaking and writing, you have to actually provide your language input. So that's one of the reasons why, if most students or most candidates score, if at all, if you have to pick one test where you score the lowest of the four, it has to be writing, because writing is the by far most difficult of the skills. And even when we learn a language, any language for that matter, writing is perhaps the last thing, is the last thing that you would learn. Look at your mother tongue. Maybe you would have started speaking, and much before that, you would have started listening. And reading becomes easier because reading, if you have to read something, someone has already written it. So someone who is proficient, fluent in the language has already written it. So you don't have to worry about the language, grammar, and all. And if there are discrepancies in the text the writer provides, obviously you can see through that. So you're not challenged by, unless you are a teacher, of course, trying to mark the exam papers, you're not challenged by any written text for that matter. And you can choose to read or not to read certain things, right? Whereas when you write, you certainly have to communicate everything in written format. And written format need to follow certain norms and conditions, not only just the grammar, but the type of communication, the context of communication, whether it's formal, informal, etc. So based on the need where is or the context where you're going to use English, IELTS offers you two versions. One is the academic version, and the other one is general training version. General training version basically provides you or aims to assess the skills of your general English capabilities in a day-to-day life where you're doing a job that is not language intensive, right? So, for example, if you are into a trade, if you are into something where the language used is non-academic, more social, and that's where you would use general training. But predominantly, you will see that most students or most candidates need to take the academic module, because academic module is critical for studies. So you must have scores in IELTS academic for studies, for most or many of the migration process where, especially if your profession requires a high level of English proficiency, you will be assessed against or against the academic module or academic version of IELTS. So the difference between the two are that one, of course, the listening and speaking are the same. There's no difference there. But reading and writing changes because depending on your professional and personal context, the type of text you read will be different. So if it is more generic, like newspaper articles, advertisements, and all that, that's what you would find in the reading, general reading IELTS test. In terms of writing, you'll be writing a letter, perhaps, or you'll be writing, a request or something like that, or a letter to an editor. Very, very basic thing that you normally would do in your what is it day-to-day life in an English-speaking community. And the essay is very generic. So yeah, we have a letter and an essay for general training writing IELTS, whereas you have a report where you interpret the data. No, you're not describing the data, you interpret the data. And then, of course, you have a very academic sounding, very formal, very serious essay on a serious topic, right? So this is one difference, or the difference between general training and academic versions of IELTS. So listening and reading, listening and speaking are the same, whereas reading and writing are different. So that's a broad idea of what IELTS is about. And of course, if you're preparing for IELTS, you know exactly the purpose, your purpose of taking IELTS or attempting IELTS. So what I would do next time is to start looking at each one of these test modules and see what constitutes a listening test and what constitutes reading, writing, and speaking test, and see how how you could prepare for it, and of course maybe give you some insight as to what is it that you are going to be assessed if as an examiner, or what is it that we would look at you. And I must say that I used to be an examiner. I don't examine anymore because I am too busy with a lot of other things. But as of course, and you will find some of the things, some insights into what I do on this channel. So once again, please don't forget to subscribe and share this. If you are planning for IELTS, this will be useful. And if you're a trainer, because there are quite a lot of trainers out there who are trying to help people perform well in their IELTS or prepare really well for their IELTS. So if you're a trainer, I hope this is going to be useful to you as well. So finally, thank you for listening and hope to see you soon again. Bye-bye.